Oh,
I do want to talk about last night
rest
because
up, Andy.
there's a couple of things.
Yeah.
First of all, the Saints offense. The amount of times I said that he dumped it off to Kamara, like, oh, double digits, easy, easy. Just like yep, dumps it off to Kamara. Up, it's Kamara over the middle. Up, Kamara. It is so and then
Yeah.
they came back at the end, and then even that final drive, and I know Foster Moreau, like, he's going through it right now. That definitely should have been a catch. But at the same time, like, dude, the play calling was not good. They had timeouts, and they decided to just rush it on fourth down and just like toss it up for a guy. And we're like, hey, here you go. Dude, like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So they're bad. But the Jaguars defense, like, dude, you let them hang around, and I've been praising them for the past couple weeks. Now I'm mad at you. Mad at you, Jaguars D.
No, the Jags defense was great until they started to get nothing from the Jags offense in the
Yeah.
second half, right? And that's just and they call it complimentary football, Tom. It's a cliche. It's a cliche, but as somebody until this season, obviously, watched a very good defense play very good through multiple weeks and then just start to crumble because they could get nothing from, like, the Broncos defense should be given some awards over the last few years of just surviving through a half of the season.
That's fair.
With literally no favors, no help, nothing from the offense. So I think that's when you're testing the difference between like a very good defense and an elite defense, right? Because we saw the Browns defense will that team to a victory over the 49ers. And the Jags, to their defense, they got a pick six in the second half. And that game still was too close. So, Trevor Lawrence played through a sprained knee. They got to figure out how to get Calvin Ridley more open in their offense.
Got one catch, right? Like, that was it
for 5 yards. He was targeted a handful of times, but they got a huge play from Christian Kirk when they needed it. So a solid win for Jacksonville. They didn't play their best game, but they went on the road on Thursday, got the win. They're going to get 10 days. Like, I think even though it got kind of ugly, it's a huge win for Jacksonville and for how it sets them up for the rest of the season. For the Saints, like, you've got so many questions. Like Derek Carr, and it was fun because I really am enjoying Kurt Benkert on Twitter during football games because I feel like his analysis is spot on. But I was seeing him and I was listening to Kirk Herbstreit talk about it. I was like, they're saying basically the same things about Derek Carr right now.
Yeah.
And they're both being very polite about Derek Carr playing like shit. Like, they're being very professional because, Carr's had the track record of being a decent quarterback, and it's not all on him. But what the Saints thought they were getting so far is not there. And you're talking about the checkdowns to Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
And I think Herbstreit was saying it where quarterbacks go through their progressions. It's like, 1, 2, 3, check down. He's like, Derek Carr's going 1 check down, 1 check down. He's like, I don't know if that's because he doesn't think he has enough time. And early in the game, he didn't. But it was like every third play, they were just cutting to Derek Carr being pissed off.
What you wrote in there was amazing. But like, he was furious. And Olave, too, that one play where Olave just like kind of gave up and stopped running, which, by the way, I go to bat. Like, I love Chris Olave. I think he's such a talented receiver. It was a few weeks ago that the offense of the Saints was like even worse, where they like Olave was like jogging and was just like giving up on plays. And like, listen, I think you and I talked about it on this show. Like, you can't be happy, right? You're on an offense that is not good. Like, the offense of the Saints is not good right now.
No.
And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't think Derek Carr is playing very well. I think that Pete Carmichael is obviously a big problem there as well. Like, there's so many things that are going wrong with that offense. But like, when you see like young players like not trying, and that has to be for like Derek Carr, who's like, dude, like, I'm here. Like, they paid me a bunch of money. Like, this is probably like my last shot. Like, no, like, he was fuming. He was screaming like, what are you doing? And he had like his own little group on the sideline because it was like Alvin Kamara, it was Foster Moreau, and I forget who the other player was. It wasn't Olave though. That he was just like chat. Oh, it was Michael Thomas, and he was just like chatting with all of those guys like while the Jaguars were on offense. And I was like, I wonder if there's like riffs already because he was pissed, like he was really fuming that night. So I'm just curious about what they're gonna do going forward. And for the fire sale, like I don't even know who they sell. Like
yeah, I mean,
there's
that's what's weird about the Saints. Like you look at it and you go, you know, there's a lot of talent there. It's just not all coming together. Is it Dennis Allen? Is it the OC? Is it Derek? It's a combo of all those guys. It's not. You can't like if you just gave him a new offensive coordinator, it probably wouldn't fix everything. Because you got Derek Carr and you got Dennis Allen. You get rid of all of those three, and then you're probably the Broncos. And Chris Olave, it's like he's like maybe a couple more of those plays away from becoming, I think, Jerry Jeudy in the local media's eyes, where he'll get demonized for everything, and no matter what he said, will start to get twisted. And it's not a fair spot to be in. And I think Carr was yelling at him that he had to keep running.
Yes.
And then the freaking it's so funny when a play like that happens, where you really need to see what Derek Carr sees in that situation to judge it, because people are like, Derek Carr's mad and he threw the ball out of bounds by 10 yards. Well, I don't know. I don't actually know if the ball was that far out of bounds. I think he's possibly, as he's getting ready to throw it, seeing Olave kind of giving up and maybe pushes it out. Or unless you got the line of sight, does that ball go out of bounds if his receiver's there to actually catch it? Like the Twitter micro dissection of whether or not Derek Carr was justified in being angry is like just fucking hilarious to me. Yeah. I think he was. I think he saw his receiver give up on a play, and you can't have that on any play, especially when you're targeted.
Yeah, fans were pit. Also, kudos to that one fan for having the sign of like the search bar for an offense.
Oh yeah,
with that. I was like, well done, well played.
Yeah,
well played. Well played.
Like I put it in the rundown. Like I've never seen Carr lose his cool so much in a game, and he went through a season where one of his players killed somebody in a car accident. His coach resigned in shame. Another player was cut for acting like an idiot on social media. And Derek Carr kept it cool. Like he was a big part of the reason the Raiders stayed afloat that season. And like whatever's going on there is driving him nuts. And I think it takes a lot to get to Derek Carr like that.